Hello, hello, and welcome back to Beth's Naughty Reads. I'm Beth LaMontagne, and I hope you guys are ready to get dirty today as we take a look at Lauren Blakely's The Proposal Play. Before I get into the book, I'd like to take a moment to ask you guys to please follow me on the socials. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook under Beth's Naughty Reads. Also, please take a moment to thumbs up and like this episode, as well as subscribe so that you can get alerts of when these come out every Friday morning. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's talk a little bit about Lauren Blakely. Lauren Blakely is a #1 New York Times bestselling, a #1 Wall Street Journal bestselling, and a #1 Audible bestselling author. She's got a ton of books out there. Her books are always fun. She is known for her contemporary rom-com romances. They're always a little naughty, which is nice. And she loves dogs, cake, and show tunes. So I'm pretty sure she and I can be besties and hang out and talk books, play with dogs, and watch show tunes all day long. Like I mentioned, this is The Proposal Play. This is a 6-book series, and The Proposal Play is the 3rd book in the series. I read book 1 and 2 earlier this year, and they were just a complete blast that I knew I was going to continue to follow the series. And I decided this week is when I was going to read book 3. So that's what we're talking about today. This series has reoccurring characters with, like, a lot of authors will do that. They'll, create a universe, and you'll get recurring characters throughout the series, as well as she brings in a couple characters from another hockey series that she did a bit earlier that make appearances in these books as well. The main characters are Maeve Hartley. I struggled so hard with Maeve. I called her Maeve. I called her Mav. I called her everything under the sun. I finally was like Mavis. That would be Maeve. So that's how I'm saying it. Forgive me if it's wrong. But Maeve Hartley is an aspiring artist. She is known for, or she's trying to be known for her what do you call them when you paint them, babe? What do you call them when you paint them? Murals. She's trying to get known for her famous murals. She's got tons of murals that she has ideas for various buildings around town. But she also has a side gig where she is artsy and crafty, and she develops really cute mirrors and lamps and like one-of-a-kind items that she sells at like markets. It's very important to Maeve that she achieves success on her own rights. And I say that because she has a famous brother, and she doesn't want to ride on his coattails. So it's very important to her that she makes her way on her own merit. She is funny, protective. She's loyal. She struggles with self-doubt like the rest of us. So, she really kind of has a little bit of a flaw. She thinks she's flawed. Both from an artist perspective and also from a relationship perspective, because she was told by a previous boyfriend that nobody would ever want to be with her because she's very clingy. And that has, what a dick. And that has just stuck with her. So her best friend is Asher Callahan. And Asher is also best friends with Maeve's brother, Beckett. Both Asher and Beckett are professional hockey players for the San Francisco Sea Dogs. They all three met originally at like a grief counseling group. The Hartleys had lost their parents, when they were like, she was, I think, 18 and he was like 21. And Asher lost a ex-girlfriend who was still one of his best friends. She was a cyclist and she was hit by a car and killed right around the same time. So they did meet each other through that group, and they have just remained close ever since. And eventually Beckett was transferred over to the Sea Dogs, and they just continued their relationship. I will tell you that Asher thinks that Maeve is his good luck charm, both in and out of the rink. So he thinks that all things good happen in his life because she is involved in it. We also find early on that he kind of is obsessed with Google. Like, there's so many things he has to Google on a regular basis, which kind of is important to the storyline. So we start to see that early on. A little bit about the story itself. Give me one second here, because my laptop's not working with me right now. Love technical difficulties. I got it. Yeah. Thank you, love. Appreciate it. Where was I? So they met Oh, geez. Okay. So, like I said, they lost their parents and his ex-girlfriend was killed. They are now, when this book opens, set 2 years in the past, if you will, or 2 years prior to the current date. And they are at Beckett's wedding. Beckett and Rihanna are getting married, and they are the two of the characters from a previous hockey series that fell in love, and their wedding. She is the maid of honor, and he is the best man. And they're talking about being each other's maid of honor or man of honor and best woman, if you will. And she kind of lets him know that, yeah, she doesn't think that marriage is for her. She doesn't think she's ever going to be happily married. So they make a marriage pact. Then they say that they will, if needed down the line, get married. It fast forwards to present day, and they find themselves at a charity event where people can bid on dates with hockey players. And Asher is one of those hockey players that is up for bid. So as they're waiting for him to come up on stage and be auctioned off, Maeve runs to the restroom and happens to overhear a very catty woman talking about she's going to win the date with Asher so that she can use him to help boom her business. She's going to make like a fake relationship for them so that people will come in and buy her products and help her grow. And then eventually they'll break up. Their pretend relationship will break up. All this based off of like hoping she gets this bid and hoping she gets some pictures with him. So Maeve, knowing this and being very protective, because remember, guys, I told you she was protective and loyal, talks with her brother and Beckett, and they come up with a plan to let her use his funds to outbid this woman on her date with Asher. So lo and behold, Maeve wins, right? I think she got the date for 100,000. Asher has been the top selling, if you will, date for the last 2 years. And this is breaking a record. I think the previous year he got like 50,000. And so they've now doubled him, and he's carrying that honor for 3 years now. They get their date, and their date is an overnight trip to a concert in Vegas. So we all know what happens in Vegas, right? Everybody gets a little crazy. Everybody gets a little tipsy. And they decide that they're going to get married. They're not drunk enough to where they don't know what they're doing, but in their heads, they're going to do it for fun. Asher feels like it could really help boost Maeve's confidence. They will get married, and then the plan is to get it annulled when they get back to San Francisco in the next week or two. They also start to see each other on this date differently. There is a little bit of a romantic scene. It's very fast. I thought it was cute and funny, but there is a scene where they go and they bet on the roulette, and depending upon what color happens, depends on if they'll get to lightly mess around when they get back to the room now that they're husband and wife. Of course, they get the right thing, and they do proceed to begin to mess around. Mavis feels really weird about it, because she doesn't want to ruin the friendship, because she thinks she's clingy. And if she starts to like him, he won't want to be her friend anymore because she's clingy. So they go back. Everything's good. They go back to San Francisco, and lo and behold, I should rewind just a little bit. They did a nice thing for a couple who was trying to get another room so the parents could have one room and the kids could have another room. So they gave up their second room, and they ended up being in a room together. That's kind of how they ended up having the same room. So they did a kind thing. And because they did this kind thing, they were blowing up all over social media, which means their marriage got blown up all over social media. So they come back to San Francisco with everybody knowing they got married. And now they're kind of in a conundrum, right? What are we going to do? So they decide that they will extend their fake marriage for a couple weeks. They've got some things going on. Asher's trying to, start a charity. Doesn't want any bad publicity. She is trying to get this art mural consignment, if you will, that's actually turns out to be with the Sea Dog. So they decide they're just going to stay married for a little bit longer. During this time, these couple weeks, they really start to get close. Maeve finds out she wins the bid for this mural, and that now she's got a lot of publicity coming in, and an online magazine wants to do a shoot of her in her home with all her art. And so now they have to start to live together. And during this time that they live together, they decide they're going to keep up the fake marriage until the end of the season. And this is when they start to really learn a lot about each other outside of friendship, and they start to see each other in a more romantic light. They do have a no touching rule, which we know flies the right fuck out the window. Probably week 3 into it, because they're hot and horny by that point, because they're apparently both very beautiful. They both realize they've been attracted to each other for years. This isn't a new attraction. It's just something that they're finally acting on. But these traumas, like I mentioned, Maeve's with her, insecurities, and Asher's with his Google addiction, do start to cause some problems and some frictions in the relationship that they have to overcome. And in order to have their happy ever after, they need to be able to conquer them together. So giving you a little bit about the book, I'm going to read a couple snippets. I'll give you a little insight. So this first one is when the marriage pack was established. So it is both of them talking back and forth, but it kicks off with Maeve simply scoffs. You know my track record. No one wants to marry a broke artist who's bad at romance. You're not bad at romance, I say gently. You just pick dickheads who don't appreciate you. He looks to her brother and Rihanna and smiles and sighs happily, then turns back to me with a helpless little shrug, like she wants what they have but doesn't think she'll ever have it. Something comes over me. Maybe it's the champagne, or maybe it's just that weddings make you think about, weddings. Whatever it is, I say casually, don't worry. If it comes down to it, I'll marry you. She pauses, then arches a skeptical brow. You're suggesting a marriage pact, Callahan? Seems I am. I don't back down from a challenge, not one thrown at me or one I throw down. Besides, she seems to need certainty right now. Sure, I say, if you ever need a husband, I'm your guy. The second one is a quote from, like I mentioned, they start to live together because they're starting to get a lot of publicity and interviews, and they need to look like a happily married couple. And so they're now staying at his house, and Maeve has fallen asleep, and she gets up and she thinks it's morning time because she was so heavily asleep that she walks into the bathroom to wash her face and brush her teeth because she fell asleep fully dressed with makeup on. And so she walks in on Asher, who is having a little self-care in the shower, if you will. So she says, my cheeks are on fire. My entire body is engulfed in flames, but I have to tear myself away. I purse my lips, pivot quietly and valiantly. I don't even know how. I find the will to head for the door. Hands outstretched, I reach for the knob. Don't you dare leave now. Chills erupt down my spine at the sound of his voice, the rough carnal command in it, don't go. Don't go, I ask? In a shuddery breath, not quite turning around in case I heard him wrong over the patter of the water. There's no way he said that. Watch me, Asher says in a taunt. You know you want to. How does he know? Did he see me staring savagely at him? A flush crawls up my chest. I swallow, then turn around, guilty as charged. I gasp, no longer looking at his silhouette. He's turned and he's wiping off the steam off the glass with one hand because he wants to make sure she can see him. He shifts his stance, giving me a 3/4 view of his impressive body. And at last, I can see all of his cock. My thighs clench. Sure, I felt him through his slacks, then through his boxer briefs 2 weeks ago. I had a rough idea of the goods, but now I'm seeing it. The man is blessed. I can't stop staring at his dick. It's the prettiest one I've ever seen. It's big and beautiful and my favorite color, pink. So I think that's pretty funny. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to get a little sip of something here. All right. Quote number 3. And this is where Mavis is discovering that she's going to need to extend the marriage, and she's a little afraid to approach Asher on it, afraid of him declining. So this is from, Asher starts off the conversation. Hey, that could be their Hollywood name, Masher. It's Mavis and Asher, Masher. Because he mashes her all right. Sorry, that was stupid. Something must have come up with Angelina, that's her agent, and the weight of whatever she's thinking seems to hang between us. Maybe this isn't the moment to ask. What's going on? I ask. A lot, she says, her voice shakily. No idea if that's good or bad. Talk to me, I say, nodding to the couch in the living room. Once we sit down, she breathes out like she's girding herself to say something hard. I tense, prepare myself for bad news. When she says, Angelina has a bunch of opportunities for me for a few months. I don't even think twice. I take the chance. Stay here with me through the end of the season. Just stay. Then, so she doesn't think it's for show, for the careers, for appearance, or for any other reason than pure want, I add, I want you to. Her smile is radiant, so damn beautiful. Really? I mean it. Stay. It's both a command and a plea, and I hope she doesn't hear the desperation in my voice. Asher, she whispers, her eyes wide, like she's afraid speaking any louder would break the moment. Confession, I was going to ask you if I could stay. So there's a few, and those are just a few. There's a lot of good moments in this book. So those are just the ones that spoke to me the loudest. Let's do some reader reviews, shall we? So this one comes from a Kindle customer, so no name, but it does say Beach Read. Love my hockey series. Best friends, marriage pack, auction gone wild. Excuse me. Trip to Vegas. What happens in Vegas might not be that easy to change. Kisses, pictures, mural, and hockey. Will they get an HEA? This one is from Just Booked Up. She says it's the sweetest best friend to lovers. Says this is a sweet best friend to lover romance where the two MCs truly love each other but waver on their feelings. It's the classic I love you but don't want to lose their friendship. But it's Lauren Blakely, so you know they're going to get great banter, delicious spice, and all the feels. And lastly, from Lulu, it's hot in here. I love this series. I'm hooked. Listen to the audiobook, and I binged it all night and all day. Sweet love story. I love fake dating tropes. Sad I finished it. There was so much spice. I loved every minute of this book. Best friends to lover, slow-paced, a hockey romance is my favorite romance books. Loving this beautiful series. So there you go. I gave this book a spice rating of 3.5 to 4. It's really good spice. I think they do just the right amount of spice. They don't get too dirty, but they get it dirty enough to keep you interested in the scenes, if you will. I gave the book a 5-star rating because it is a fun story. It gives you a lot of insight on some mental illnesses that people can have out there. We all think everyone's perfect until you dive in a little deeper and you begin to see some of those cracks. So I thought this book was fun and lighthearted. Fast and easy read. Found myself connecting with the characters and actually found myself like a little emotional a couple times when they were working through the stuff. It's definitely needs to be on your to be read or TBR list. If you don't make it a summer read, because this is a great travel read. So if you've got some time that you're going to be sitting by some water, a lake, a beach, or spending some time up in the mountains, this might be a good read to just kick back and relax with. I do plan on reading the remaining 3 books, so I'll let you guys know what I think of those as I get through them. It is a great palate cleanser, if you will, after romantasy or dark romance, because those can take a lot out of us. And so this was just a really light read after finishing the mating series that I talked about last week. And I just wanted something simple and fun, and this nailed it. There is, for those of you that like to listen, there is an Audible available for this book, and it seems like everything I've seen from social media, the main male character's voice is sexy as fuck. So I might have to go back and listen to it too, because who doesn't like a sexy man talking your ear off? I will also say go check out Lauren's social media. You can find her on Instagram as Lauren Blakely Books, on TikTok as Lauren Blakely Books, and then on Facebook as Lauren Blakely. Go out and follow her and check out what else she has to offer and what other things will be coming up. I'll also give a hookup to my other podcast called The Bar is Open that I do with my husband. It's a really fun podcast. We just BS and drink and talk about things going on in the world and try to just have a good time with some of the shit that comes down the pike. So if you're looking for something fun and easy, go check us out. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, or X. I have no idea when I'm going to read next week, as usual, but I will let you guys know what I decide I'm going to grab on, and I'll be sure to share that on the socials. So until I see you guys next week, I hope you have a great week.